Egoless prayer, pure prayer. Our ego is not our true self. In pure prayer, the ego is transcended. It's in that work of pure prayer that our false identification with the ego is gradually diminished, and the true self begins to emerge. I think it was Merton who talked about the true self as like a shy deer that doesn't like to come out of the woods. It doesn't like to be looked at. From the teachings of Cassian, the Desert Fathers, the whole monastic tradition, of course, it's very clear that the purity of prayer is its egolessness. Pure prayer means without ego, without self-consciousness, self-analysis. The prayer in which we are analyzing what is happening, watching what we're getting out of it, is not pure prayer. That's why the first rule of meditation is meditate without demands or expectations, and without judging your meditation, in fact, in any way. Finding the fruit of our prayer not in what happens during the meditation, but in our life as a whole, in the transformation of our personality. And this egoless prayer is precisely what St. Anthony is referring to when he says, quoted by Cassian, "The monk who knows that he is praying is not praying. The monk who does not know that he is praying, he is truly praying." You see the same understanding of prayer in the Syriac tradition. The Syriac fathers say very simply, if we are to pray, we must lose my prayer. We must go beyond my prayer, and leaving my prayer behind, enter into the prayer of Christ. So what this suggests to us is the prayer of Christ himself. All forms of prayer, all methods of prayer, whether it's the divine office, whether it's any devotional form, even if it's scripture itself, any form, ritual, or method of prayer is only preparatory, or a reminder, or an incentive, or an encouragement to go deeper into the purity of unself-conscious prayer, into the prayer of Christ. And the same is true, ultimately, of the mantra, the formula of Cassian. There comes perhaps a time when we stop saying the mantra, when we are led into pure silence, pure simplicity. But it's very important for us, I think, to be cautious about how we understand that. Remember the pax perniciosa and the sopor letalis, the lethal sleep and the pernicious peace. The purpose of the mantra is not just to lead us to quiet, but to lead us beyond the ego, beyond all sense of I. That's why a very simple way of describing this would be to say your word until you can no longer say it. We do not choose when to stop saying it. And as soon as you realize you have stopped saying it, then simply start saying it again. The problem comes when we're meditating and we are led into a state of quiet. There are maybe no distraction, very few distractions, and we feel very peaceful. And then we say to ourselves, I am silent. I don't need to say the mantra anymore. The problem, of course, is that if we say we are silent, we are breaking the silence. The thought, I am silent, is a sign that we have not yet become fully simple, totally simple. We are still self-reflective. And there is the radical simplicity of Cassian's teaching. Why he insists to say the mantra in times of adversity and in times of prosperity. In pure prayer, there is the absence of I as a separate ego, and even the absence of God as an object of perception, all ideas and images of God. And this is a description, of course, of apophatic prayer. And the whole of this tradition of pure prayer is in the apophatic tradition. In the Greek Church, the Orthodox Church, the relationship between apophatic prayer, prayer that takes us beyond thoughts and words and statements about God, and cataphatic prayer, the prayer in which we use words and thoughts and images. The Orthodox thinkers believe that these are two valid forms of prayer, two dimensions, but they give the priority to the apophatic, to the prayer that takes us beyond all images and statements about God. When we think of prayer, indeed the whole of our life, we need, I think, to see poverty as the working goal, the goal that we are working towards. If we were to say what is the goal of our life, we would probably say liberation or salvation or enlightenment. And we would say that renunciation is the means by which we come to this goal. There always seems something wrong in that. But if we put it the other way round, there seems something very right about it. That the goal is renunciation, and liberation or enlightenment is the means. In other words, we are never trying to possess the goal, never trying to make an object of God, never trying to look at our true self. If renunciation is the goal, if poverty is the goal, then we have arrived. No doubt why poverty of spirit is the first of the Beatitudes. And it's in that poverty that we find joy. Because the goal is realized, it is never achieved. The process of prayer is the process of realizing what is, not of making something happen.